We've all experienced desire, and if you haven't, then you clearly haven't seen the mom from Wizards of Waverly Place. I mean, wait, am I really gonna start this video like this? Let me start over. I'll just edit this part out. Desire is an all too familiar feeling, and we usually just equate it to small brain animal instincts. We see some red velvet cake, and our primitive brains light up like a bunch of animals. Sure, we can control our desire, some better than others, but that desire is still there, like a mosquito bite. We can't get rid of it, and the more we scratch at it, the more we indulge in it, the worse it gets. But what if there was a different way to view desire? What if we viewed desire in a set of stages? I mean, how do we even find a view like that? Not to worry guys, because the 19th century Danish philosopher Søren Kierkegaard has such a view in store for us. I'm Paul, this is Philosophy Tunes, and the book we're going to be using is Either Or. We used it last time, so if you want the full context then go watch that. But basically, our buddy Kierkegaard is playing a character in a sense. He's writing from the perspective of an aesthetic person. And obviously, an aesthetic person is gonna know about desire and eroticism and all that good stuff. So this is pretty much a video on how that aesthetic person views desire. Little disclaimer here though, this can get confusing. I'll provide quotes as always, so if you think my interpretation doesn't match the quote, then just correct me in the comments. So like I said earlier, the aesthetic views desire in terms of these three stages. But the word stages might imply that they're separate, when in actuality, they're all present. In using the word stages, the idea must not be taken in such a literal way as to imply that each stage exists independently, the one outside the other. I might perhaps more pertinently use the word metamorphosis. So this seems like a contradiction on its face, right? Something is there, but it's not really there? Like, come on, what are we doing? This is the type of thing that people make fun of philosophy for. But it might help to think of these stages kinda like a movie. There's different scenes in a movie, and obviously if one scene is going on, then that other scene is not at the same time being shown. And yet all the scenes are part of that movie. The scenes, like stages, are all a part of this movie, but are not all of the time being disclosed. That's how I see it anyways. With that in mind, let's take a look at this little roadmap that Kierkegaard gives us near the end. The first stage desired the one ideally. The second desired the particular under the category of the multiple. The third stage is the unity of these. So this first stage is concerned with desiring the one ideally, with one being capitalized, so you know he means business. Now I interpret this stage to be wanting something of a general category. So you know when you're young and wanted to be in a relationship just for the sake of being in a relationship? Or hey, maybe you feel like that now. No one person is really specified as an object of desire, but rather, you have this deep feeling for something that's not yet fully fleshed out or specified, but it's a feeling nonetheless. Maybe it can't even be conveyed in words. Maybe music might capture this feeling better, which is something Kierkegaard actually talks about earlier. But that's essentially how I view this first stage, and here are some quotes that I'm working off of. Desire is not yet awake, it is moodily hinted at. The object of desire does not fade away. It does not extricate itself from desire's embrace, for that would mean that desire was awake. It is desired without being present to desire, which therefore becomes melancholy precisely because it cannot reach the point of desiring. Kierkegaard uses Mozart's operas as examples, and I'm gonna be honest, I do not know any of Mozart's operas. I mean, I love Amadeus, that's one of my favorite movies, but I really don't have much interest in watching an opera. Honestly, I'd rather shove my arm down the garbage disposal than watch an opera. But Kierkegaard uses the character of the page from Figaro as an example, as the page is interested in womanliness, as this desire that is not yet fully specified. So if you know of Mozart's operas and know what he's talking about, then share your knowledge below. And I'm sorry for not liking operas, please don't dislike this video, or do so, I still won't go to the opera. So the second stage is a little more familiar to us. We have something specific in mind, we have an object of our desire. We went from desiring love, or something general, into desiring a specific object. And remember, these stages are not independent. Like when we have a crush on someone, that doesn't mean that our general desire for intimacy dies in the process, right? Now even if this second stage is a bit more concrete, it's also written in the cryptic, albeit poetic, language. Desire awakens, and as one always first realizes, one has been dreaming at the moment of waking, so here too the dream is over. This arousal in which desire awakens, this tremor, separates desire and its object, gives the desire an object. Kierkegaard further goes on to say that only when the object exists does the desire exist. Now this may just be semantics, but I still think you could desire without having a specific object in mind. Like sometimes you're hungry even though you don't know what you're specifically hungry for, you know? But maybe I'm just misunderstanding good old Kierkegaard, huh? So the final stage, and thanks for sticking with me so far. Give me a sub if you're enjoying the video. I'll take a meatball marinara. Oh, and also subscribe to the channel. Now this final stage is best described with Kierkegaard's opera example, Don Giovanni. Now from what I understand based on just Wikipedia, Don Giovanni is essentially a playboy, seducing many women and having a lot of hot, steamy Bible study sessions. This stage is said to be a unity of the two stages. But how can you unify the desire, quote unquote, of the general with the desire of the specific? Well, think about what a playboy does. The playboy desires sex, seduction, members of the sex that they are attracted to. They desire these general things, but the playboy also actualizes these general desires in specific people. They sleep around, seduce many people, and they're therefore able to desire the general and the specific, or maybe I should say specifics. Desire in this stage is therefore absolutely sound, victorious, triumphant, irresistible, and demonic. It must of course not be forgotten therefore that it is not a question here of desire in a particular individual, but of desire as a principle, spiritually specified as that which spirit excludes. So why is desire called demonic and irresistible here? Well, think of it this way. In the previous stage, we had a single object of desire, and once you get that object of desire, like entering into a relationship, you don't have to chase anymore, you could relax. But when you enter the third stage, oh boy, where is the end? You keep chasing and chasing, seducing and seducing, and maybe this connects back to our last video and the depressing outlook on life. Personally, I've lived both lives. Back in college in my first year of post-grad, I didn't want to settle down. I'd spin the dating app wheel and make something happen for a night, then move on. It's fair to say I was involved in what's known as hookup culture. Dr. Peterson would be very disappointed with me. But now I'm in a relationship, and I gotta be honest, it's a much more fulfilling and peaceful time than the single life. Like instead of all that anxiety and energy spent on dating apps, first dates, even cold approaching from time to time, now it's much more calm and meaningful. But at the same time, the hookup culture life wasn't this mega depressing thing that the last video made it out to be. But hey, experiences vary. That's just my own personal anecdotal relation to this stuff. But hey, I'm more interested in hearing your own thoughts on this. Obviously, you don't gotta get into all the not safe for work details, but if you've lived the casual life and the relationship life, can you relate to what Kierkegaard is saying here? Comment below. And while you're down there, subscribe because we're at the end of the video. If you like this truly transcendental experience, then leave a like. If you dislike this experience, then I will have no hard feelings whatsoever if you also leave a like. Thanks for watching, and I wish you all a beautiful rest of your day.